Colin Ward, ladies and gentlemen, our stadium organist.
Good morning and welcome to WCBN's coverage of Michigan Wolverines baseball live from Omaha, Nebraska. Adam Bressler joined in the booth by Lucas Vargas, just spectating today. But we have an incredible and improbable run for the Michigan Wolverines as they seek vengeance against a team that completely mercied them in the very first game of this Big Ten tournament. After falling to Iowa on Tuesday, Michigan rebounded Wednesday evening against Illinois, completely demolished the 2-seed in an upset yesterday afternoon, and now they face off against Iowa once again as they attempt to keep their tournament hopes alive and potentially defend their crown as the Big Ten tournament defending champions. Interesting lineup coming your way in a moment. Michigan with Brandon Mann, the freshman, starting as the pitcher in this game, a 7.53 ERA and 14 and a third innings pitch. So not a ton of experience, but that's going to be the name of the game for the Wolverines as they advance further in this tournament, likely further than even Coach Smith, the team likely expected in his very first campaign with the Wolverines. Got an interesting lineup as well for Michigan. Starting, we got Jeffress, Flores, Burden, Velazquez, Mitch Voigt, Jack Van Remortel, Dylan Stanton, Jonathan Kim, and Gabe Sotrace. So that's the same exact lineup we saw yesterday, same order and everything. With the exception is Mitch Voigt, instead of pitching like he did yesterday, is playing designated hitter. Kind of an intriguing change from the first two games in this tournament, where Voigt started at the hot corner and Obertop, the veteran senior, was designated hitter. He's been ice cold at the end of this season and the start of this tournament, so I'm not surprised to see Coach Smith make an adjustment and actually keep Stanton in, who had an incredible game with 4 hits, including a double, an RBI, and 2 runs yesterday. He had a great one defensively. Right now, 2 managers meeting at the plate. Freshly manicured field with new lines and paint and all the best cut grass, as Coach Smith in his first year meeting with Rick Heller, 10-year coach out of Iowa. The way the tournament is structured, it's a double elimination bracket. So the Wolverines would need to win 2 to knock off Iowa. Iowa currently coming in with 2 games of rest, a day and a half of rest, and only played 2 games in this tournament compared to Michigan, already racked up 3, including 1 yesterday. So coming in with much less rest and just all-around soreness. And if that wasn't advantageous enough, Iowa can afford to drop this game. Michigan would have to win both right now and a hypothetical rematch at 5 p.m. if necessary. If Michigan loses, they're eliminated because this will be their second loss of the tournament, when Iowa has yet to drop a game, so they can afford to drop one now. Going to be an interesting dynamic to see who Iowa goes with as well. They got, it looks like, Ty Landenberg, the junior, with a 5-3 win-loss record and 64 innings pitched, will be taking the mound today. One of the luxuries of only playing in 2 games so far this tournament. You got a lot of fresh arms. Something to keep an eye on for the Wolverines is, will they bring out O'Halloran? He pitched the other day, 5 full innings, gave up 7 hits and 7 earned runs, in addition to 7 strikeouts. So not exactly cutting it out on route to Michigan's run rule mercy in the 8th inning. I was the home team today as the lower seed. Hello and welcome back to WCBN. Apologies about the technical difficulties we had earlier. We should be back up, set and running as we enter the top of the 2nd inning with Mitch Voigt taking the first batter. Wolverines and Hawkeyes still scoreless after 1 full. First pitch is in from Langenberg, and that'll be a swing and a miss for strike one. Voigt is batting at designated hitter today after pitching and then later coming in for DH. Played most of the season when he didn't pitch at third base at the hot corner, but Coach Smith elected to keep Stanton, and there's a changeup, swing and a miss. Strike three, he's out. Already one out here in the bottom of the second. Michigan only had one base runner last inning, and same goes with Iowa after Michigan picked off one of their runners trying to attempt to steal. Stepping in for the second batter, grad student Jack Van Remortel has had a pretty solid tournament. Himself and fellows, I guess he's a grad student, but then seniors Burden and Flores have really commanded this team. So he makes contact and fouls it off out of play. 0-2 count. Quickly playing from behind, but 2 outs here. Or pardon me, 1 out, 2 strikes. And there he goes, swing and a miss, strike 3. 2 batters, 2 strikeouts. And Michigan seems to be the team of old, same way they looked against Iowa at the beginning of this tournament so far. And definitely not a good sign for the Wolverines, hoping to win in advance. With 2 outs, Michigan has third baseman Dylan Stanton in. This is only his 7th start of the season. Started yesterday as well when fellow third baseman got the nod in his first ever starting pitch outing, leaving the hot corner open for him. Pitch is in outside and low for ball 2. 2-0 count with 2 outs and no one on the top of the second inning. We got a leg lift and a throw. Contact made over the backstop out of play. 2-1 count. So still a batter's count. 2-1 with 2 outs. Trying to get a 2-out rally from Stanton as he swings and a miss. Strike 2 evens up the count at 2 apiece. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, no one on. Leg lift in the throw, going to be inside, making the count full. Langenberg has seen quite a lot of full counts, but fortunately for him, he's gotten out of it more often than not. Already 4 strikeouts of the 5 outs he's had. Fouled back once again to stay alive, this time behind the backstop. Count remains full. Leg lift and the throw from the ace. Inside and high for ball 4. Michigan as its second base runner of the game with 2 outs. Hello and welcome back to WCBN. Apologies, we've been having some technical difficulties this morning. So for the time being, we're going to just keep the static graphic on our computer, just showing the tournament bracket, just having live audio. But we appreciate you bearing with us and sticking out on this Saturday morning. You're tuning in with 1 out in the top of the third. The score remains 0-0. Jeffress steps on in. He had a strikeout in the first inning, looking to get something started. Neither team able to do much so far. So he takes a pitch, 0-2 count early for the leadoff shortstop. leading the team in runs this season. Langenberg looks to finish him. Throws it and just barely low for ball one. 1-2 count with one out here in the top of the third. Rocks back and fires. Contact made into shallow left field. Getting under it and making the grab for the Hawkeyes is going to be left fielder Sam Peterson. So 2 outs quickly here in this top of the third inning. And the Wolverines have been relatively quiet on offense. Only 1 hit and 2 base runners at a walk, in addition to the single by Burton. As Flores comes on in, solid role player, has started heating up at the right time. Past 2 weeks he's been quite hot. Earned a spot as the 2-hitter. So he makes contact and rips it into right field. Trending foul, and they're going to say just barely foul, kind of in the corner in between the foul line and the grandstands. They had the potential to be a double or a triple with Flores' speed and jump off of that hit. Flores has played in 54 of the 55 games this season and started in nearly all of them. Only 3 of them that he played in he didn't begin. So he takes the 0-2 pitch, line drive right to the shortstop, makes a grab for the Hawkeyes. It's going to be Michael Seegers to get the 3 out. So we have 3 up, 3 down for the Wolverines. No runs, no hits, no errors, and no runners left on base, as the Wolverines remain scoreless through 3.5. And it seems like a matter of time before the Hawkeyes crack this one open. As mentioned earlier in this broadcast, it's predominantly Hawkeye fans in attendance. Hawkeyes have the third base dugout, joined by the Wolverines on the first base dugout. And has to be at least 1,500 Iowa fans made the trek on out, some potentially as close as Council Bluffs right across the river, and some potentially as far as Iowa City or Davenport. I'm sure the organizers of this tournament are pulling for the Hawkeyes to advance far and sell out more of the tickets. Same with the Cornhuskers. Huskers won big last night to stay alive against Michigan State. And this stadium was about as full as I've seen in this tournament. It was rocking, too. It actually felt like a stadium atmosphere, unlike some of these Michigan games. That Wednesday night game versus Illinois, Michigan, Illinois, just slow and dead. So coming out for his third inning, Brandon Mann, the freshman, came in with not a ton of experience, 753, and 14 and a third innings pitch prior to today. Already brought his ERA down almost a full point. That's just how low of a sample size he has faced. He pitches it in, ball 1. Leg lift in the throw. Gonna line it into shallow left, and that'll drop for a single. And the Hawkeyes have their second hit of this game. That was Braden Frazier, the 8-hitter, getting on as the catcher Cade Moss steps on in with no outs, looking to start something for the Hawkeyes. Leg lift and lays down a beautiful bunt. Charging in as Stanton throws it over to first for the out, but allows Frazier to advance to second. Beautiful sac bunt to advance the runner. And props to Stanton, too, fielding it cleanly, charging in, and not getting distracted by the allure of potentially turning two. It's unlikely anyway with the good jump that Frazier took. Ben Wilmez comes up leading, batting leadoff. Runner on second, one out as the first pitch fires in. Change up outside for ball one. One-oh count with one out here. Fires in, it's going to be high. Ball two. He led off the game in the first inning with a walk. Currently halfway onto his second one with a 2-0 count. Steps forward and fires in. Called strike right down the pipe. 86 miles per hour. 2 balls, 1 strike, 1 out. Hawkeyes yet to crack this one open after winning their first 2 games. Fires it in, going to be low and away, 3-1 count. Three-one pitch. Winds up and throws. Contact made. It's going to be right to the second baseman, Ted Burden, who makes a grab and throws it over a little bit offline, but able to scoop it up for the second out. There's a heads-up play by Burden to scoop it up after a ricochet off the mound. Kind of helped that he was kind of shading in to cover second with the base runner. So with 2 outs now, Iowa remains with 1 runner. Peterson steps on in, left fielder, batting .340, coming into the game, second highest besides teammate Dorigi, who's on deck. Pretty strong shift for the righty. Michigan has Stanton, Jeffress, and Burden all to the left of second base. So just Van Remortel covering the whole right side of the field. First pitch is in, outside, ball 1. One-oh count with 2 outs. Runner on second, not taking much of a lead. Fires in, it's going to be outside yet again. Change up, 76 miles per hour for the second ball for Peterson. Peterson had a home run against the Wolverines when they faced off on Tuesday. I'm sure he's looking to get a similar one today. Wind up and throw. It's going to be high, 3-0 count. Peterson also had a walk to lead off his game. And I'm not quite sure what happened. Did they intentionally walk him with that 4th pitch? I believe so. He's having it was 3-0 and they just gave him first base. Makes sense. Provides forces at any square base and takes away the power hitter, Peterson. Dorigi comes on up. The senior, as I mentioned, he's leading the team with .342 average. Has a strikeout in the first, being the second out of the game after the pickoff, successful pickoff of Wilmez. First pitch is in for a ball. 2 outs, 2 on. Runs on first and second. Fires, it's going to be low and inside. Ball 2. Michigan desperately trying to get out of this 3rd inning without surrendering any runs. As he steps in and fires, it's going to be low and right at the kneecap. 3-0. Coach Smith knew he was playing with fire, having Mann get the start. So far, he's doing well. Threw 8 outs without any runs and only 1 hit. Yet he's been bad at loading the bases with walks, as he walks another one on 4 straight pitches. So bases are loaded with 2 outs, and the cleanup hitter, Raider Tello, steps on in. Mann is yet to start in 12 appearances. Just like that, that might be it of his outing as Coach Smith comes out from the dugout to the mound. The fans are chanting, "Take him off." Well, the Iowa fans are ecstatic, bringing the energy to this game. Coach Smith knew, got 2 2/3 out of him. 1 hit and no runs, but he has 3 runners left on base as he comes out at the end of, in the middle of this inning. So still potentially liable for 3 earned runs, depending on what Iowa can make of the relief pitcher coming in. Trying to see who it was for the Wolverines who came on out from the pen. Looks like Horwedel, who pitched not only against Iowa on Tuesday, he pitched yesterday against Indiana. Didn't have quite the longest outing, but he is Coach Smith's go-to when needing a long relief. And that's probably the weakest facet of the Wolverines' game, is their bullpen this season. And in a tournament like this, where they've already had 3 games in 4 days, and there's a potential for 3 more games in today and tomorrow in the next 36 hours, the name of the game is pitching and pitching depth. So far, Michigan's been fortunate to have long outings from the starting pitchers, getting 5 from O'Halloran against Iowa to begin this tournament. Getting even more from Walker Cleveland, 5 2/3, and then getting an additional 5 2/3 yesterday in the start from Mitch Voigt. So long outings so far has allowed Michigan to not only save their pitchers and avoid going to the pen, but generally Michigan starters are better than their relievers. So it's helped with some of the run support. I'm intrigued to see if we see O'Halloran whatsoever this game. He last pitched on Tuesday against Iowa, and they seem to really crack the code on the reigning Big Ten pitcher of the year, getting 7 hits and 7 runs off of the starter. As finally the warm-up pitches conclude for Horwedel, with bases loaded, and Tello, the cleanup hitter, stepping in with 2 outs. Michigan just desperately needs to get out of this inning unscathed. First pitch is in, 78 mile per hour outside for ball 1. Horwedel has an 8.64 ERA coming into this one. He fires and throws, this time inside, but remains a ball. 2-0 count with 2 outs. As a reminder, Horwedel has a unique arm release. Not quite sidearm, but not quite 3/4. It's about 2/3 is the way I'd describe it. Something you don't see much as he fires, and it's right down the middle and fouled down the first base line. Brings the count to 2-1 with 2 outs and bases loaded. Force at any base to just touch the nearest one for Michigan's defense. No strong shift, and honestly, the infield's playing probably further back for the cleanup hitter than they would otherwise. Fires in. Going to be a called strike to make the count full, or pardon me, 2-2. So 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs with bases loaded. And Herweddle is 1 pitch away from saving this inning for the Wolverines without any runs given up. Taking his time on the mound. Pitch clock is clocking down. Looks home. Steps forward and fires. And it hits him. Hit by pitch with the bases loaded will bring in the first run of the game for the Hawkeyes. That fires up the crowd, and this is not a good sign for the Wolverines. 2-2 count. And you hit the guy in the elbow. Basically give him a free bag. Not only that, a free RBI. RBI hit by pitch for the cleanup hitter. Guess it's better than him hitting a grand slam, but still not the way you wish to give up the lead against the undefeated Iowa Hawkeyes. Second baseman Sam Hodgenar steps in. Has a ground out to third base in the second inning. He's looking to put it in play and potentially bring in more runs. Rocks back and fires. Outside ball 1 with 2 outs and bases remain loaded. One ball, no strikes, 2 outs. Sets back and winds up. Contact made into center. Kim trying to track it down in the sun. Finds it and makes a grab to end the inning. There you have it. 1 run on no hits, no errors, and 3 runners left on base. The Hawkeyes lead 1-0 at the end of 3, 1/3 through this game. And the Wolverines have their work cut out for them if they want to stay alive. The journey this season is long if they want to potentially keep playing. With 1 loss in this double elimination tournament, they'll need to win this game in addition to winning at 5 p.m. later today and then win tomorrow for the payoff game. Even though it's double elimination, if they face Maryland tomorrow, who at the moment doesn't have a loss, it's just a winner takes all, so they'll do 1 game for the championship. But they need 2 right now against Iowa. This is kind of similar and a little bit reflective of what we saw last year, where Michigan won their first 2 games in the tournament, while Iowa dropped their first one and had a scramble and faced Michigan in this very round in the semifinals. And Iowa, playing from behind, took the first one before dropping the second one, allowing Michigan to advance to the finals. The way the double elimination format sets up is so advantageous to the victors, not the Wolverine, but the winners of the previous rounds, by providing not only additional rest, but also just less games in general. Michigan has played 3 games to Iowa's 2. Iowa played Tuesday, Thursday, and now Saturday, so they've had a full day of rest in between each of their rounds. Assuming they win this, they'll have over 24 hours until the finals tomorrow. Selection Sunday immediately after. Iowa at this point has likely locked in their seeding in the at-large selection, regardless of whether they advance and win the tournament, get the auto bid. Ted Burden, the 3-hitter, has a single in this game, and he steps off to lead off the 4th inning for the Wolverines as he fouls it down the third base line for strike 1. Burden is a senior and unsure whether he'll take use of the COVID year, as the 0-1 pitch comes in for a ball, evens it out 1-1, low, changeup outside. COVID years provided to anyone on the team in 2020. Not too many players left with that eligibility, but Burden remains one of them as he takes the next pitch for a ball 2, 2-1 count with no outs in the top of the 4th. Pitch is in. Once again outside, can't seem to find the zone. I think he's reluctant to pitch to the 300 hitter. Batting .304 coming into this game. Leg lift in the throw. Rockets it into the outfield, going back in center for the Hawkeyes. Getting under it and making the grab is Kyle Huckstorf for the first out of this fourth inning. It's Michigan, for the first time this game, is trailing. First time since Iowa that the Wolverines are trailing. Did not trail at any point in the game yesterday against the second-ranked Hoosiers or on Wednesday against the seventh-ranked Fighting Illini. Velazquez steps on in. Like the starting pitcher, Brandon Mann, Velazquez also is on the football team. Maybe trying to follow in his footsteps as he fouls it off. In the air, might stay in play, and the third baseman makes a grab to get the out. Heads up play there by Tello to get 2 quick outs in the top of this fourth inning. Velazquez has not quite been the strongest at the plate this tournament. He also had some errors in the first game against Iowa. He's gotten better defensively since then, but still not bringing much to the table in the lineup. Van Remortel Voigt steps in. Mitch Voigt, the designated hitter, has a strikeout in the second. As he checks his swing for ball 1. Voigt traditionally plays third base, but he's that designated hitter. His teammate Stanton had a career game yesterday and earned a spot in today's lineup as well, taking a strike to even up the count at 1-1 for a fastball right there. 1-1 with 2 outs for the freshman designated hitter. Makes contact, flies it up, foul behind the backstop, up into the second deck club level here at Charles Schwab Field. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Michigan trailing by 1 here in the top of the fourth. Pitches in right down the pipe, but didn't get the nod. I probably would have made that call if I were blue. Evens the count up at 2-2 with 2 outs now. Wasted no time rocking back and throwing. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Second strikeout of the day. Cooling down after yesterday, Voigt had 4 hits, including an RBI and a run and a double. Starts off today with 2 strikeouts. Like to give a shout out to Lucas Vargas heading out. WCBN alum, provided some help as we were going through the technical difficulties this morning. So through 3.5 in the middle of the fourth, no runs, no hits, no errors, and no runners left on base. Michigan only has 1 hit in this game, so they're desperately trying to stay alive. In the tournament, they get a chance at vengeance after Tuesday's beatdown. Michigan ended up losing 13-3. Didn't even finish the 9 full innings. The tournament has a 10-run mercy rule, which was invoked with 1 out in the 8th. Wolverines would want vengeance for that game when I was playing for some revenge of their own. As I mentioned earlier, these 2 teams met in this very round exactly a year ago in the Big Ten tournament, where the roles were reversed. Michigan was the team that was undefeated, while Iowa had 1 loss and were trying to stay alive. Iowa took the first game, then dropped the second game to be eliminated, and that ended up eliminating their season as well, as Iowa was not selected for the NCAA tournament. They were on the bubble, and Michigan was one of those bid-stealing teams. They were not scheduled to make it until they won the Big Ten tournament. So we go into the bottom of the fourth. Michael Seegers comes up, the 6-hitter, as Iowa leads 1-0, and he fouls it back behind the dugout for strike 1. Horwedel continues to pitch after getting 1 out and 1 run surrendered. He was not attributed with the run, but he gave it up with a hit by pitch in the 3rd inning, giving Iowa their 1-0 score, which remains right now. Wind up in a throw, and it's down the third base line and foul to make it 0-2. Michael Seegers, the shortstop, trying to get the offense going. As Horweddel's trying to get a long relief right now. Sets in, fires, throws, and a strike 3 on a curveball. Caught him chasing, will send him back to the dugout, and that'll be a strikeout for the relief pitcher to bring out 1 out in the bottom of the 4th. Center fielder steps on in. Kyle Huckstorf. Huckstorf had a hit on Tuesday when he played Michigan. Has a ground out so far today as he takes the first pitch for a ball. One-oh count for the center field righty as he gets a bloop hit into shallow right, and diving for it is Velazquez, and he makes it. That'll be out number 2 as the football two-way player gets his uniform dirty and gets a good jump there. For someone who has not had the best reads this season or series, this tournament, he read that exceptionally well, had a great jump, and was able to get there just in time to scoop it up in the air. Helps that the wind kind of kept it up airborne a little bit longer than it should have. So 2 outs. We get Frazier stepping in, has a single in the 3rd. Eventually scored for the lone run this game. Pitches in, fouls it off second time in a row. 0-2 count with 2 outs now. And Michigan has 2 arms warming up in their own pen down the right field line. But for now, they're sticking with Horwedel as he fires in a little bit high for the first ball. 1-2 count with 2 outs for the right fielder. One ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Gets set, fires it in. Up high in the air, will it be out of play? Yes, it will, behind the Michigan dugout on the first base side. And a fan catches it in the air for applause from both sides. Not too many Wolverines fans. It's tough to really judge, but probably about 30 or so under my count. Tough to distinguish the Hawkeyes and Wolverines fans because of their similar color palette. 1-2 count, fires in, swing and a miss, fastball 87 down the middle. So that'll do it. 3 up, 3 down, no runs, no hits, no errors, and no runners left on base for the Hawkeyes. Through 4 full. Hawkeyes have a 1-0 lead, but it remains close, and the Wolverines are fighting with their season on the line in this game on this beautiful, beautiful Saturday morning here from Omaha. Appreciate everyone sticking with us with our technical difficulties early in the broadcast. Wouldn't be live radio without something going wrong, and made it through the first 3 games of the tournament without any bad technical issues, but finally caught up to us in Game 4. So we appreciate you sticking with us and supporting student radio as well. Apologies, we normally have some dynamic graphics up too, but with the technical difficulties, just got the bracket on up for your viewing pleasure. As you can see on the bracket up, winner of this game, it really depends on what will happen next. If Michigan wins, these 2 teams will rematch at 5 p.m. today. And if Michigan loses and Iowa wins, Iowa will get the rest of the day off and play in the championship tomorrow. Michigan almost certainly eliminated if they lose. Unlikely to get a at-large bid. So they'll need the auto bid to make the NCAA tournament like they did last year. As of now, and at least for another 24 hours, Michigan is the defending champions of the Big Ten tournament. Michigan is tied with 2 other programs for most Big Ten titles, Big Ten tournament titles, dating back to the 80s. Michigan has 10, along with the Minnesota Golden Gophers and Ohio State Buckeyes. Both the Gophers and the Buckeyes were one of 5 teams that did not qualify for the Big Ten tournament. Of the 13 Big Ten schools that sponsor baseball, only 8 of them make the tournament. And so 5 are left on the outside looking in. And that included both the Buckeyes and Gophers. So that gives Michigan the opportunity to take the lone spot as the most Big Ten tournament titles. Jack Van Remortel, grad student, steps on in, has a strikeout on the day as he takes the first pitch. Makes contact on the second one. Towering shot right to second baseman. Trying to track it down as Hodgdar. And he makes a grab. Out number 1. Grad student sits down back in the dugout. Michigan's offense has been impotent so far today. Only 1 hit through 4 full innings. As Stanton steps on, and he has a walk, so he has reached base today. Stanton only 5 starts prior to the tournament, but coach put him in when teammate Voigt got the debut yesterday, and liked what he saw offensively to keep him in today even when Voigt isn't pitching. He takes a pitch and swings and misses for a 1-1 count with 1 out. Michigan in the top of the 5th trails Iowa 0-1. Leg lift in the throw. That's going to be high, but a called strike on that changeup, 79 miles per hour for strike 2. Langenberg's looked good, but racked up quite a few pitches, already through 70, through 4 1/3. As Stanton fouls it back to stay alive. Has a walk so far today and has 4 hits yesterday, including a double, 2 runs, and an RBI. Fires in, it's going to be outside, makes the count 2-2. With 1 out now, Wolverines, no time better than the present to get the offense moving, but it won't happen here with a 2-2 pitch and a swing and a miss. Strike 3, sits him down. And slowly but surely, Langenberg is making work of the Wolverines offense. One of the strong starters on Iowa has 64 innings pitched, 13 games started. And right now he's 7 Ks already. Winds up and throws. It's going to be high and outside for ball 1 to Jonathan Kim. Made the all-freshman team. Started off the season very hot, batting over 500 before cooling down. So he makes contact for a towering hit down the third base line. Drifting foul. Will it go out of play? No, it won't, but Iowa misread it in the sun, and it drops. So it'll be 1 ball and 1 strike, and Kim will live with 2 outs. So Kim grabs his bat and steps back into the box. 1 ball, 1 strike, and 2 outs here in the top of the 5th. Strikeout on the day so far. Leg lift in the throw. Contact made, ripped into left field. Tracking it down is Peterson, and he makes a grab in the air. Without even looking, tosses it to a young Iowa fan in the crowd. And that'll do it. 3 up, 3 down yet again. Wolverines, no runs, no hits, no errors, and no runners left on base through 4 1/2. Wolverines trail only by 1, but they are down 1-0 to the Iowa Hawkeyes, who look to remain undefeated in this Big Ten tournament. Out once again is Horwedel. Michigan seems to be sticking with him as long as they can. He only pitched a third of an inning against Iowa, giving up a hit. Only actually had 1 at bat, too. Just didn't like what they saw from him. O'Halloran pitched 5 full with 7 hits and 7 earned runs and 7 strikeouts against Iowa. Obviously not enough for the win and much worse than his season average. But the question is, will he come back in? And if he does, will he bounce back? All season, in the few bad outings that he's had, he was normally incredibly dominant for the Wolverines, despite earning the loss. First loss of the season, in fact, for O'Halloran. But he's always bounced back after getting rocked or rattled. So if he ends up pitching whatsoever this season, it'll be intriguing to see how he performs. It's intriguing to see what strategy Coach Smith decides on. At this point, he's had almost 4 full days of rest since pitching. Didn't have a ton of pitches the other day, too. He had 92, which for him is about 20 or 30 less than what he normally does in a good outing. He's had several complete games, in fact. As a catcher in the 9-hitter, Cade Moss comes up, where Weddle bringing his ERA down slowly after an inning and a third, down to an even 8-0 with 2 strikeouts among those 4 outs. Foul tip, going to be strike 2 for the catcher. It's a sacrifice fly in the 3rd inning. I guess sacrifice bunt, pardon me. As the 0-2 pitch comes in wide for the first ball. Iowa leading here in the bottom of the 5th, 1-0. One-two pitch winds up, fouls it to stay alive, and it hits off his shin. As he takes a few moments to walk it off and reset. I'm sure the catcher is used to balls hitting his shin. But he seems to be a little bit shaken up after that one. 273 average. Not quite the power hitter. No home runs on the season. Does have 7 doubles. So he makes contact to the 3rd baseman. Stanton scoops it up, fires on line to Van Remordel in time for the first out at the bottom of the 5th inning. Top of the order's coming up. Ben Wilmez steps on in. 270 average. Looking to get Iowa's offense jump-started after a strong 3rd inning to get their lone run of the game. Is a walk and a ground out in this game. Fires it in for a called strike, 77-mile-per-hour curveball. Oh, 1 count with 1 out. Fires in, it's going to be high in the air, drifting out of play, and it will get behind the backstop. Catcher had no chance at tracking that one down. So 0-2 count for the leadoff hitter with 1 out. Here in the bottom of the 5th. Getting set and ready. Leg lift in the throw. Fires a fastball, but it's outside. First ball of the at-bat. 1-2 count. Trip to the title game on the line if the Hawkeyes are able to maintain their 1-0 lead. The 1-2 count and fouled off once again behind the backstop. So remains 1-2 with 1 out for the leadoff designated hitter. Steps back, getting set for the righty, winds up and throws just barely high, evens the count at 2-2. Where Weddle, despite only having faced 5 batters, already up to 30 pitches. Leg lift and throws. It's going to hit him right in the helmet, I think. second hit by pitch by the reliever. One was an RBI in the third inning for the lone run. And that's another tough opportunity. Gets into a pitcher's count, up 2-1, and surrenders an unforced error with the hit by pitch right there, giving Iowa the first base runner of the game. Peterson, 2 walks on the day. Had a home run in the first game against the Wolverines. Swings and fouls it, and it hits off his shin for strike 1. Last pitch, 78-mile-per-hour curveball. Finds the corner of the zone. Unable to get a clean whack at it, despite being lined up properly. Oh, 1 count with 1 runner on for the first time this inning. Fouled back yet again behind the backstop. Iowa is seemingly able to connect with the velocity of Horwedel, but they can't quite find the movement, and they're struggling to put it in play. Is yet to surrender a hit, has earned 2 strikeouts, but has given up a run. It wasn't attributed to him, but with the bases loaded, he hit a batter. Hit a second batter for the current base runner. Swing and a miss, strike 3, he'll sit down. Third strikeout for the reliever, and he's making work of this Iowa team, keeping the lead manageable, deficit manageable. So 2 outs and still 1 runner on here in the bottom of the 5th. Iowa leads 1-0. As Dorigi leading the team with a .342 average. It's a strikeout and a walk in this game. Looking to get a 2-out rally going, just like the Hawkeyes managed to do in the third. Pickoff attempt for the right-handed pitcher, unsuccessful. Getting back well in time is Wilmez. Wilmez has 4 stolen bases out of 5 attempts. So not a ton for the leadoff hitter, to be completely honest. But when he goes, he's likely to be safe. Pitches in for a ball. Inside, 1-0 count. In the zone for the relievers, he does a pickoff attempt once again. Not even taking much of a lead on first base for Wilmez. He is just getting in the head of the pitcher. Finally fires home. That's going to be a beautiful changeup, 74 miles per hour, right down the pipe. I'm sure Dorigi wishes he could have this one back. 13 home runs on the season. He could have slung that over the fence if he connected. 1-1 count, 2 outs, runner on first base in the bottom of the 5th. Leg lift in the throw. It's going to be a hack and no good. As the umpire comes out to hand a ball directly to the pitcher. That one goes foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Bottom of the 5th. This game is moving right along in this early Saturday morning slate. Had it start at 9 a.m. because there's a potential for 4 games today. We got this one followed by the Maryland-Nebraska game at 1. Then potentially the sequel to this, the encore, if necessary. 1-2 count, 2 outs. Pitches in, change up, outside, no good. Evens it up at 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs for the 3-hitter. Looking to get out of this inning with a runner on outside and high. Makes the count full. So 3-2 count with 2 outs and a runner on first. Likely to see Wilmez running. As you could probably hear a Let's Go Hawks chant taken out from the 2,000 fans who made the trek across the river. Pitch and a fastball high, swing and a miss, strike 3, sit him down. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 runner left on base as Horwedel gets out of the inning for 2 1/3, providing some relief for the Wolverines, trying to stay in this for the sake of their tournament hopes and their season. Following this game, the undefeated Maryland Terrapins, winner of the regular season title, will face off against hometown favorites Nebraska Cornhuskers. The team already faced off once in this tournament, facing off on Wednesday. They'll face a rematch following this. A lot of Hawkeyes fans already trickling into the stadium today, trying to get good seats ahead of their team playing. The closest to a hometown team being only an hour away from Lincoln here in Omaha. Charles Schwab Field, home of the College World Series. During the regular season, this is where the Creighton Blue Jays play their home games out of the Big East Conference. Following that, the Big Ten has their conference tournament here. And then the College World Series has their finals. The final 8 teams qualify to play in Omaha after the Super Regionals. But beyond that, in late June, the stadium remains empty. Omaha has a minor league affiliate, the Storm Chasers, affiliates of the Royals, I believe. But they don't play in this stadium. They have this beautiful 25,000-seat stadium, yet the AAA Royals affiliate elects to play in a smaller stadium out in suburban Omaha. So this beautiful field stays empty for most of the school year, for most of the calendar year, from late June until early March, dead empty. In the heart of downtown Omaha, overlooking the Missouri River in the Chi Health Center. Gabe Sotres, the 9-hitter and catcher, steps on in. Has been not good offensively this tournament yet to get a hit. He's had 2 strikeouts on bunting it foul with 2 strikes as he makes contacts and sends a fly ball into left, getting under it as Peterson makes a grab for the first out, and that streak will continue for Sotres, yet to get a hit. He did reach base with bases loaded and 2 outs yesterday by taking one for the team and leaning into it. Only time he's been able to get on first this tournament. Top of the order comes out with 1 out. Jeffress comes on in, takes the first pitch for a strike. He has a strikeout and a fly out to left field. Pitch 2 is in high and outside on a fastball, 89 miles per hour for Langenberg. Already up to 80 pitches. Hawkeyes are probably just looking to burn them. If they win today, they only have 1 game left in the tournament. Change up in there and just barely misses. It looked pretty good to me, but fortunately for the Wolverines, it's a ball for a 2-1 count here in the top of the 6th inning. Contact made and fouled beyond the backstop. Goes out of play. Evens up the count at 2-2. Fires it in, and it's going to be low and inside for ball 3. Count is full with 1 out. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out here in the top of the 6th inning. Michigan trailing 1-0 to the Iowa Hawkeyes. Gets set for Langenberg. Fires and throws. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Second strikeout of the day for Jeffress. And he'll be sit down with 2 outs now. Here in the top of the 6th. And the Wolverine offense is completely helpless. 1 hit all game through 5 2/3 so far. Complete opposite of yesterday, as Michigan recorded 18 hits against the Hoosiers, setting a tournament record for the past 4 years. Most recent time that happened was also Michigan, where they got 19 hits in 2019 against the Huskers. 2019, they ended up losing the tournament, yet had a great run and advanced all the way to the big national title game on this very field. Flores steps on in, fouls it off for 1-1. Liner down the third base side. Has a ground out and a line out this game. A lot of outs, only one hit for the whole team. Still within one, so one swing of the bat could tie this up. 2 outs now. Gets set, throws, and he'll take that pitch and go to first base. Second time Flores has reached on a hit by pitch this tournament. So he takes one for the team. So 2 outs, 1 base runner. As Ted Burden, the fellow senior and leader on this program, steps on in, looking to hit his teammate home. One swing of the bat could give Michigan its first lead of the morning. Pitch is in. It's going to be outside and low for a ball. Burden has a lone hit of this game with a single in the first. Fly out to deep center in the 4th inning as his only other at-bat. Leg lift in the throw. Contact made, foul down the third base line, grounder. Running on the pitch was Flores. Only 2 stolen base attempts, and he was successful in both of them. Shows you how little he moves from the bag when he gets on. Leg lift in the throw. Pitch is in. It's going to be just barely outside. Increases the count to 2-1. Wolverines trailing 1-0 here in the top of the 6th as it fired in for a called strike. Evens the count up at 2-2 with 2 outs and a runner on first base in the top of the 6th inning. 2-2 pitch coming your way. Leg lift. Any pickoff attempts as he steps back. Getting back well in time is Flores. He wasn't even taking that aggressive a lead, only 2 or 3 steps off the bag. Didn't even have to dive. Pitch is coming in, makes contact, deep towering shot to left. Peterson backtracking on the warning track, getting under it, and he makes a grab for the 3rd out of the inning. So there you have it. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 runner left on base. Wolverines' offense is completely helpless so far. Heading into the bottom of the 6th inning, the Hawkeyes lead 1-0. Coming out yet again, we have Michigan's long reliever, Eamon Horwedel, the senior right-handed pitcher, already through 2 1/3, looking to extend that further. Michigan has had several arms getting loose. This is it for their season, so they're likely burning through anyone and everyone they could get if it allows them to win. You win, you still got a game later this afternoon at 5 p.m. They lose, however, season's done. Incredibly unlikely at this point that they get an at-large bid. Very few Big Ten teams do into the tournament, so you have to be towards the top. At-large bid mainly hoarded by the SEC, the Pac-12, the Big 12. Bigger baseball conferences. Big Ten, far from a baseball conference. Michigan, the reigning champions of the Big Ten tournament, at the moment still looking to keep that alive. But they're down by 1 as we enter the bottom of the 6th inning, and Iowa seem to be pretty dominant pitching. Only 1 hit surrendered by Langenberg through 6 full. And the Hawkeyes at the moment have only 1 arm getting loose in the pen, but it looks like they're going to ride with their starter as long as they can. Might be a little bit dangerous with it being just a 1-0 ball game with 1 swing of the bat able to potentially tie it. Far different, at least so far, from the previous time these 2 teams met on Tuesday. Final score was 13-3, with Iowa securing a mercy rule win in the 8th inning. Raider Tello, the cleanup hitter, steps in as the first batter at the bottom of the sixth inning. Pitches in inside for ball one. Where Weddle looking pretty efficient. Has only faced 7 batters and got 4 strikeouts of those 7. Winds up and throws, and it's fouled off to even up the count at 1-1 for the third baseman. Has a fly out and a hit by pitch. Currently on the season, has a perfect 300 average with 65 hits. 1-1 count. 2/3 pitcher winds up and throws in a shallow bunt, and it drifts foul. Unexpecting that from the cleanup hitter, especially after swinging on the first 2 pitches. So it'll be 1 ball and 2 strikes trying to catch Michigan sleeping. And unfortunately for the Hawkeyes, it went foul down the third base line. 1 ball, 2 strikes, no outs here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Leg lift in the throw, and then right back to the pitcher. He takes it himself, jogs over to Van Remortel. Underhand toss will do the job. That'll be out number 1 here from the 6th inning. Heads up defensive play. It was fired and rocketed right back at him. And his glove was in the perfect position to make the grab, and then he was able to jog it over and underhand flip it for the final 10 feet. Hodgenard comes on up, has a fly out and a ground out for the 5-hitter. Jersey number 5 in addition to batting 5 as he takes the first pitch. Curveball got away from the pitcher. 1-0 count. 1 out, bottom of the 6th inning. 1-0 count, Iowa leading by 1. Makes deep contact into deep center. Kim having to turn around on the warning track, looking behind him, and makes a grab back against the wall. My goodness, that looked dangerous at first. But the Wolverines got a lucky break there with the wind coming off the Missouri River and keeping it in the field of play. Second out of the 6th inning. It remains 1-0, Iowa leading. Shortstop steps on in after that dangerous play. Only 1 hit surrendered by the Wolverines. So it's been good defensively, bearing that hit by pitch with the bases loaded to hit the RBI in. Run hit in, run batted in the most abstract sense of the word, I suppose. As the first pitch is in, change up for ball 1. Pitches in, liner into shallow left. Flores scoops it up, and just as I said, there was only 1 hit of this game. How about you double it? Which is a 2-out single from Michael Seegers to shortstop. Hit a liner right over the head of Michigan shortstop, Jeffress. Center fielder Kyle Huckstorf steps on in, the junior right-handed batter and thrower. Has a ground out and a line out this game. Looking to make something happen with 2 out and a runner on first base. Seegers so far is leading the team in stolen bases with 17 on 20 attempts. So a solid base runner, something to keep an eye on with 2 outs as they're trying to manufacture an additional assurance run. First pitch is fouled off down the first base sign, well out of play. Fan gets a lucky souvenir. Fans still trickling in, both Iowa fans trying to catch the end of this game and Hawkeye fans wanting good seats for the next game at 1. 0-1 count. Pickoff attempt back at first for the prolific base runner. Seegers gets back well in time, however. 0-1 count, 2 outs, runner on first base. Where Weddle has 3 full innings now, trying to get 1 more out here. He's looking strong from the pen for the Wolverines. Steps back and overthrows it. Error. He's going to advance to second, and round second, he's going to third. Holds up halfway between second and third, and he'll go back to second. And that's what you risk doing. You got a runner on first with 2 outs, forced play at first or second. Focusing too much on the base runner. He overthrew it. And now there's a runner in scoring position and no force for that lead runner. Count remains 0-1. Focus on the batter. This is the 7-hitter. He's batting .284 on the season with a line out and a ground out today. Exactly the most prolific. Here comes Coach Smith. Is he already going to make a call to the bullpen? Guess a runner in scoring position now changes things. And that'll do it. My goodness. So there you have it. 3 full innings pitched. 1 hit surrendered. No earned runs. Did give up that run, but it was attributed to Brendan Mann, the starter. 2 hit by pitches, however. He has that runner on second. That's also attributed to him. Solid outing all around from the pen. Just what you expect from a long reliever. Go 3 full. Keep the score close. Let's see who's coming out from the pen. Looks like, oh my goodness, it's Connor O'Halloran. I was wondering all yesterday if we'd see him in the mound from relief. Didn't need to use him yesterday, but I think Michigan realizes if they let this game slip away, they won't ever see him for the rest of the season. O'Halloran, the junior, is a reigning Big Ten Pitcher of the Year, had an absolutely incredible season. Not so much on Monday, unfortunately. Or Tuesday, rather, as he pitched against Iowa. 5 full innings, giving up 7 hits on 7 runs. Last thing you want to see. Let's see. Okay. O'Halloran has a 8-6 win-loss record this season. That's in 16 appearances. 15 of those appearances were starting. So this is only the 2nd time all season he's come out of the pen. Now or never, I suppose. Even if he throws lights out, shut out the rest of the game, Michigan will need some help from their offense. So far, only 1 hit by the Wolverine offense with 9 more outs left this game. O'Halloran seems to be pumped up. Had 92 pitches on Tuesday when he played the Hawkeyes. And he hasn't appeared since then, so he's had a relatively large amount of rest for tournament format. You oftentimes see pitchers play with back-to-back days. We already saw Horwedel came in. He pitched yesterday, too. So Huckstorf still with the 0-1 count inherited from the previous hitter. And that's deep into the gap in right center. Gets behind Kim. 1 run will score. Rounding second, going to third. He'll be stand up with a triple and an RBI hit to double Iowa's lead. Very first pitch from the reliever and Big Ten Pitcher of the Year was ripped into right center. Makes the game a 2-0 game so far for the Hawkeyes. That run will be attributed to Horwedel. So I guess he had 3 innings, 1 hit, 1 earned run now. But not a good look on the very first pitch to give up a base-clearing triple with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th. Michigan's work even more cut out for them. Third hit of the game right there. Contact made right to the shortstop, Jeffress. Diving acrobatic play. Gets up to his feet. Line drive right to Van Remortel for the 3rd out. Incredible wedge in play. Silences the crowd here in Omaha as the Wolverines give up 1 run, 2 hits, and 1 runner left on base, and I guess 1 error on the throw. Not the sixth inning they want, but they're only down by 2, still in this with plenty of time left. That was dangerous. If it wasn't for that acrobatic play by Michigan's leadoff hitter and shortstop, that would have been another run, and even more potentially as the inning continued on, the 2-out rally. Curious to see who comes out for Iowa, and it is Langenberg. Guess no surprise there. Through 6 full shutout innings, only 1 hit surrendered. Michigan needs to find the way to crack the code for Langenberg, and they need to find a way quick. Trailing 2-0 heading into the top of the 7th inning. Only 1 hit all game for the Wolverines, and that came in the first inning for the 3rd batter overall. If Michigan wins this game, we'll get an encore at 5 p.m. following the conclusion of the Nebraska-Maryland game. If not, then Iowa will get the rest of the day off, and Michigan will return to Ann Arbor, making it further than they probably anticipated. Many fans, myself included, probably anticipated with the upset of the Hoosiers yesterday. Hoosiers, despite a disappointing tournament run with 1 win and 2 losses, they will be advancing, almost certainly getting an at-large bid into the NCAA tournament with 27 wins. With that, Velazquez, the cleanup hitter, two-way football, baseball player, steps on in to lead off this 7th inning. Michigan trailing 2-0. Velazquez takes strike 1. Wind up in the pitch, going to be low and inside, evens it up at 1 apiece. So we got a 1-1 count now. So he checks, did he go? Yes, he did. My goodness, had to appeal down to the third base ump for the left-handed batter. So 1-2 count, that was well low, almost skipped ahead of the plate. Don't know what he was thinking, even checking it. Wind up and the throw, shallow contact down the first base line into the Michigan dugout. Michigan just needs anything to kickstart this offense, as they're still facing the starter who threw 6 full shutout innings with only 1 hit. Pitches in, shallow grounder to second, going to be scooped up by the shortstop, and he'll beat it out. Shortstop trying to be fancy, coming in all the way to second. The ball was like shallow chop to the second baseman, and the shortstop being fancy coming all the way over, scoops it up and tries to underhand toss it without taking it out of his glove, and it just didn't have enough juice, and Velazquez ran it out. Showing his speed from the football team, often comes in on special teams. As Michigan they will count that as a hit. Second hit of the game as Mitch Voigt steps in. 2 strikeouts on the day, following yesterday where he pitched 5 2/3 innings in addition to 4 hits at the plate. 4 hits he got himself and 2 runs. Leg lift and the throw, going to be outside. 1-1 count now. Trying to avoid the 3rd straight strikeout for the freshman. Anyone who tuned into my broadcast this tournament knows this by now, but he's selected twice for the All-Big Ten freshman team. Faces the pitch, swing and a miss, fastball low and away as Langenberg crosses the 100-pitch mark. Makes it count 1-2 with no outs here in the top of the 7th. Leg lift in the throw, swing and a miss, strike 3, 3rd straight strikeout for the freshman. So I guess he piled on all of his hits yesterday with 4 and has 3 strikeouts today. Van Remortel comes on in. Had a big blast the other day, 3-run shot. Now would be a good time to tie the game with a runner on first base, trailing 2-0 to the Hawkeyes here in the top of the 7th with 1 out. We do have a pinch runner coming in for Velazquez. Looks like it's Greg Pace Jr., Michigan's other right fielder, so I guess it'll be a defensive sub too. Pace has much more speed than Velazquez, so makes total sense that he's coming in. Velazquez has 4 stolen base attempts, only one of them successful. First pitch, changeup inside for ball 1, 1-0 count with 1 out and 1 on for the grad student. He remains the only link to Michigan's run to the championship game in the College World Series on this very field back in 2019. He didn't play very much, but he was on the roster. Didn't play at all in the Big Ten tournament or the NCAA tournament, as we got another pickoff attempt and Pace gets back easily. But he did play early in the season, and he had most of the COVID year off, only about a month of play for the Wolverines then. So he takes another pitch, 2-0 count. That was a rough season for the Wolverines as they were ranked first overall nationally, beating ASU and Vanderbilt on the road in a preseason tournament and having most of their team coming back from their runner-up season. Were very high early on the season in the national rankings, and then COVID came, so we didn't get to see what they were able to make of it. One ought to think that they would have been favorites to win the Big Ten that season, but who knows. 3-0 count now with 1 out for the first baseman. Leg lift and the throw. Going to be high, and it gets behind the catcher, and Pace didn't even notice. He was jogging over to second with the free base. If he had his head up, he probably could have saw that. He maybe could have gotten third. Second walk of the day for Langenberg, and we're going to get the first mound visit of the day. I wonder if this will be it for him. If so, it would have been 6 1/3, 2 hits, no runs given up, so a solid outing regardless. But as of now, it looks like it's just a standard mound visit. I don't see any movement in the pen towards coming on out. One guy is warming up. Unfortunately, with my eyesight, I can't quite make out his number. Looks like 47. Let me see. That looks like Will Christophers, if my eyesight isn't failing me, in the pen. But he's staying right now, returning to the dugout, is Rick Hellers for Iowa without making any change. So with 1 out and 2 on, Michigan could take the lead with 1 swing of the bat right now. As they have Dylan Stanton, the third baseman and junior, stepping in. This is his 7th start of his season. 35 games played. He was oftentimes the go-to pinch hitter when needed. But with such a good freshman and Mitch Voigt at third base as well, he didn't get much time. Wow, that's a move. Pulling Jack Van Remortel for a pinch runner, Jake Marty. Gets down 2. That's the tying run on first. First pitch is in, change up high for ball 1. Intrigued if they keep Marty in to replace Van Remortel defensively as well. Marty's traditionally a third baseman. As he swings, and it's a chopper right to short, throws to second and to first for the double play. You got a 6-4-3 double play to end that 7th inning. Had some promise early on, but that'll do it. So 1 hit, no runs, no errors, and 1 runner left on base. That really extinguishes the hope for the Wolverines as they return to the dugout, and we have the 7th inning stretch. Michigan trailing the Hawkeyes 2-0 with only 6 outs remaining offensively for the Wolverines. And we have O'Halloran coming out once again.
Take me out to the ball game. Thank you, fans, and thank you, Colin Warren, our stadium organist.
So following that 7th inning stretch would take me out to the ball game. O'Halloran warming up. Michigan down to potentially their two final innings, 6 final outs offensively. If they wish to stay alive, not only do they need to come alive offensively, they need to make a stop defensively. We do have 2 subs as predicted for the 2 pinch runners. Greg Pace Jr. coming in right field, replacing Velazquez. And Jake Marty, traditionally a third baseman, coming in at first to replace Jack Van Remortel. Ended up being for naught on the very next pitch. Michigan grounded into a double play. Cade Moss, the catcher, 9-hitter, fouls the first one back. Michigan looking to stay alive, keep their season with their ace, Big Ten Pitcher of the Year. Fires it in, called strike, 0-2 count for the catcher. Is a sacrifice bunt in the 3rd inning and a ground out in the 5th, and that's all she wrote so far for Cade Moss. Leg lift and the throw. Takes a pitch just barely low and away, ball 1. No outs here in the bottom of the 7th. Wolverines trail 2-0 to the Iowa Hawkeyes. Contact finally made and ripped into the gap in shallow left. Flores scoops it up, but not after safely reaching first base for the 9-hitting catcher. That's a leadoff single for the Hawkeyes as they hope to extend their lead and potentially close the door on any Wolverine comeback here in the 8th or 9th innings. Ben Wilmus, the designated hitter and leadoff, steps on in. He has a walk and a hit by pitch as he lays down a bunt and it goes way foul. I had to see the leadoff guy lay down a bunt like that, but I guess his average isn't particularly high, 269 on the season with 36 hits. Moss, far from an incredible base runner, but he does have 8 stolen bases on the season. Charging in as he shows bunt. It's very high. Michigan diving for it. Can't grab it, and it stays fair. And they'll tag him out, but it'll advance the runner. Third baseman Stanton lunged out and he was unable to grab it, but he tipped it so it couldn't roll foul. And the batter just didn't even move from the box. He just accepted getting tagged as it advanced the base runner to second with 1 out now here in the bottom of the 7th. That bunt, it ricocheted high up, and even with Stanton charging in, he didn't have enough time to get under it. And he tipped it, however. That's the complexity there, is that normally you would expect the infielder to just let that roll foul, but because he dove for it and tipped. And Michigan's going to take an intentional walk for Sam Peterson, 2nd intentional walk of the game for him. He's been incredible this season, 50 hits and 40 runs, batting .340 on the season. 11 home runs in addition. And now with 2 outs, any square, or 1 out rather, any square base is a force. Michigan hoping to turn 2. 82-mile-per-hour fastball fired in for ball 1. O'Halloran came in from the pen and so far is looking iffy. Gave up 1 run, although it wasn't attributed to him in the 6th. Now with 1 out, he has 2 base runners. 1 ball, no strikes, 1 out. Runners on first and second. O'Halloran fires inside, ball 2. Iowa leading 2-0 here in the bottom of the 7th. Looking to extend to their lead and prevent any Michigan hopes of a comeback. Wind up and the throw. inside, but a called strike brings the count to 2-1 with 1 out. Michigan has nobody warming up in the pen. I think they're riding or dying with their ace, O'Halloran, Big Ten Pitcher of the Year. Looking on back to second. Delayed pickoff attempt. Gets back in time. You would imagine any hit to the outfield scores a run. With men on first and second right now. DeRiggi, the first baseman, has a walk and 2 strikeouts this game. O'Halloran has yet to record a strikeout since coming in from the pen. It's shallow, and it's right up the gap, and that'll likely bring in a run. Flores charging in, can't get it in time, and scoring from second base is going to be the Hawkeyes, and they extend their lead 3-0. And just like that, Michigan's hope at a comeback gets even harder. That would have been a routine ground ball, potentially a double play, if it weren't for Jeffress holding on the base runner at second. As Cade Moss comes around from second base, the catcher. 1 out, runners on first and second still. Michigan just stopped holding on the runners. I think they figured after last play, kind of learned their lesson. So we cross into 11 a.m. Central Daylight Time, 12 p.m. Eastern. We appreciate you tuning into WCBN Sports. 1-0 count, fires in, going to be low. And O'Halloran seems pretty rattled. Normally, after a bad outing, he bounces back well. But he didn't pitch particularly great on Tuesday. 7 runs surrendered in 5 innings. And so far, he has 1 earned run in 2/3 of an inning. Leg lift and the throw. Movement, fires down to third. It's going to be close. I think he got there in time. He's safe at third base as both runners on first and second took off. That's Peterson diving in. Peterson, 19 stolen bases, I guess make that 20 now in 22 attempts, only caught twice. As an additional run just 90 feet away and 2 runners in scoring position. Bottom of the 7th, 1 run already scored this inning. Michigan trailing 3-0 to the Hawkeyes. 2-1 count, wind up in the throw, contact made and it's foul. Evens up the count as the cleanup hitter stays alive, 2-2. Two count, 1 out, runners on second and third. Any hit to the outfield likely scores 2 additional runs and really cracks this game open. 3-run deficit's manageable. I don't know about 5. Leg lift and the throw. Swing, and it's into the gap in between first and second base. 1 run rounds in. Firing home, incredible arm by Pace. Holding DeRiggi at second, so that'll bring in 1 run as Peterson scores from third. And now there's runners on the corners. And the Wolverines have their work cut out even more so. Down 4-0 here in the bottom of the 7th. And it looks like O'Halloran, Michigan's ace, Big Ten Pitcher of the Year, is getting rocked. Michigan's going to pray that their offense shows up as we get another mound visit. Here from Brock Hutzinger, the pitching coach, comes on out, so not Coach Tracy Smith. Hutzinger, in addition to Smith, are both first-year coaches. Bakic took a lot of his guys with him down to Clemson both player-wise and personnel in the front office. So not surprising to see a lot of new faces. Michigan's dugout, but Coach Smith has built a decent program considering he took this over. It'd be even better if he could cap it off with a tournament win and Michigan defends their Big Ten tournament title. But as of now, they got quite the uphill battle, currently trailing in the bottom of the 7th 4-0. If they lose this one, they're eliminated. Even if they win, they have to play later today against Iowa. Sam Hogarth comes on in with runners on the corners. Second baseman trying to add to the lead for the Iowa Hawkeyes. First pitch is fired in low and a ball. Now, I don't know what it is. O'Halloran against the Hawkeyes just does not seem to be himself this tournament. Bottom of the 7th, score is 4-0. 1-0 count, runners on the corners for the Hawkeyes. O'Halloran lifts his leg, throws and fires outside, ball 2 for that 90-mile-per-hour fastball. He's getting the heat up, he just can't find the zone. Crowd is getting loud. Many Hawkeye fans in attendance. Fires, and this is popped up high behind the plate. Going to drift behind the backstop and be out of play. Strike 1. Runners on the corners, still 1 out. Wolverines trying to stop the bleeding here. Already surrendered 2 runs in the bottom of the 7th. Looking to keep it at that. Inning potentially could have been over if Jeffress wasn't holding on one of the base runners. Fires a pitch in. It's going to miss just barely. I don't know where it missed. Regardless, it makes the count 3-1. Fires on back to first base for a pickoff attempt. Kind of odd if you ask me. I didn't see much movement from Tello. Leg lift and the throw. Swing and a miss. Strike 2. Count becomes full. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Runners on first and third. Strikeout here would be huge in Michigan's hopes in coming back in this game. Taking his time to get a new ball. Grabs the Rosen bag behind the mound. Takes his time to get set. Stepping on the rubber, the clock begins to tick. New innovation this season. Leg lift and the throw on the full count. Lined into shallow left. Diving for it is Michigan's Tito Flores, and he lines and grabs it, but tagging up from third base is an additional run, making it 5-0. Incredible heads-up play, diving from Flores to get an out there. But when he's on the ground, it was tough for him to get back up and fire it in. And Coach Smith is on out. This might be all we see from the Big Ten pitcher of the year. Heads-up play by Dorigi on third. Holding off and tagging up, even when Michigan's Tito Flores, senior and captain, made an acrobatic defensive play to get it in the air. He didn't sweat it and just tagged up and came in standing to give Iowa their 3rd run of the inning and 5th of the game. And that'll do it for O'Halloran. He comes on out. 1 full innings pitched. surrendering 3 runs, all of them earned on 3 hits. Tough outing for the reigning Big Ten pitcher of the year. That might be it of his season, too, bearing some miracle 8th or 9th inning comeback from the Wolverines. Coming in, John Torella, the senior right-handed pitcher. Torella this season, 9.22 ERA in 13 2/3 innings pitched. So not exactly one of Michigan's go-to relief arms, hence why we haven't seen him yet in this tournament until now. Michigan 2 outs with a runner on first base, trying to stop the bleeding here, and then they'd have to put up at least 5 in the final 6 outs of their season. We appreciate everyone tuning in and supporting WCBN Student Radio. We've had the real privilege of covering every baseball game this season at home and many of the away games as well, including from Houston and Columbus and Cincinnati, and now Omaha. We've covered, this is our 34th game of the season WCBN has broadcast, which actually sets a station record. Even when Michigan made the run to the College World Series and we covered most of those games, we only covered 32 games in the 2019 season. So it was a real pleasure covering these games so far. If Coach Smith and the Wolverines have anything to say about it, this won't be the last. Will take quite the comeback, however, as they trail 5-0 the bottom of the 7th. Torella steps on in, fires ball 1. With 2 outs now and a runner on first base. Seeger steps in, hit a single in the 6th and eventually scored, being the lone run in that inning. Also has a strikeout and a fly out to center field. Second pitch low and away, ball 2. And this was Michigan's weakness. Their pin is just so hit or miss, unreliable. And when you have a tournament where you have 3 games in 4 days, 4 games in 5 days even, you just run out of arms. Pitches in, ball as well, high and away, ball 3. So 3-0 count with 2 outs. Fires over to first base to attempt to get the runner to no avail. Tello stays on. Fires in. 3-0 count, and it's a called strike right down the pipe, 89 miles per hour. Michigan has 0 people left warming up in the pen. Literally, it's just a coach. So I don't know what they would do if things get real nasty. Leg lift and the throw. It's going to be high for ball 4. 2-out walk puts runners on first and second. And the 7th inning is really giving Iowa the breathing room they want. Assuming this result holds, Iowa leads 5-0. They'll take the rest of the day off and play tomorrow in the championship game, either Nebraska or Maryland. Michigan, on the other hand, they blow this, their season is done. Leg lift and the throw, it's going to be high, ball 1. Slow clap from the Iowa fans trying to cheer up their team as Huckstorf comes on in, the center fielder with a triple, scored a run in the 6th. Going to be a called strike, 1-1 count with 2 outs and runners on first and second here in the bottom of the 7th. Iowa looking for more of a cushion. Already got 3 in this inning to extend their lead to 5 as he fires in and fouls it back into the netting. 1-2 count with 2 outs. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Leg lift and the throw. Change up, strike 3, ring him up. Finally, Michigan escapes from their torturous inning. 3 runs on 4 hits and no errors and 2 runners left on base. Iowa really starts to run away with this one. The Wolverines have Kim, Sotras, and Jeffress coming on up in the top of the 8th inning, down 5-0. Appreciate everyone supporting Student Radio and sticking with us through our technical difficulties early in the game. Ideally, we would love to have a dynamic graphic with the score and the bases as we did earlier games this tournament, but due to technical difficulties, unable to do that today. But we appreciate you sticking with my commentary and supporting student journalists as WCBN provides coverage of 13 different Michigan athletic teams, all for free, all without commercials, over the internet and occasionally over the FM airwaves. If you like what you have here, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. This has the potential to be our very last broadcast of the 2022-2023 school year. But regardless, this YouTube channel and station will be around in the fall, where we'll provide coverage of every football game, most men's and women's soccer games, most volleyball and field hockey games, in addition to men's and women's basketball when the season comes along, and ice hockey too. So if you like Michigan athletics and you want to support Student Radio while enjoying live coverage for free without any commercials, hit that subscribe button to stay notified of new postings on our channel. I've had the immense privilege of leading the station for 2 seasons now, and we work really hard to produce a high-quality product for Michigan fans while still developing the skills of our commentators. Let's see. Sticking on the mound. Actually, we have a new pitcher, so that'll be it from Langenberg. As Will Christophers comes on in. We saw him warming up in the pen earlier. Intrigued to see what his stat line will bring. In this game, he's looking for the long save. I don't even know if it'll qualify as a save now that they're up 5. But Michigan down to 6 outs. And I'm sure the Hawkeyes are hoping to get those easily with the relief pitcher as Jonathan Kim steps up. Big Ten all-freshman center fielder, or Big Ten, freshman, all freshmen, I suppose, all Big Ten freshman of the year center fielder, however you want to say it, will take strike 1, 0-1 count. Fires in, contact on the third base line, right over the third baseman's glove. Now going to the outfield, he's rounding second. It's going to be close at the bag, dives on in, he's safe. Extra bagger for the freshman. Heads up play, and it was much closer than it probably should have been, but safe nonetheless. And with no outs, Michigan has at least 1 runner in scoring position, hoping to kickstart a rally to save their season here in the top of the 8th inning, down 5-0. Intrigued. Obertop came on in. Figured as much earlier this game that he did not play. Has been kind of quiet this season. He was injured for a good part of it. He was great last year, Big Ten all-tournament team, as he takes the first pitch for a ball in 2022. He was a finalist for the Posey Award, but injured. He played designated hitter most of the season. We have this 1-0 pitch, wind up in the throw, takes it on the outside, 2-0 count. 203 average at the moment. Came into this tournament in the lineup as designated hitter, but with Stanton playing so well when Voigt pitched. So we get a pitch, 2-0, it's going to be inside for the 3rd straight ball. As Voigt pitched and Stanton did so well offensively and defensively at third base, they moved Voigt to designated hitter, replacing Obertop from the lineup completely. Wind up in the throw, right down the pipe, 84-mile-per-hour fastball. I'm sure Obertop wanted that one. 3 homers on the season. As he takes a pitch for a 3-1 count with no outs and a runner on second base in scoring position. Leg lift in the throw. Ball or strike 2 makes the count full. So the bat has yet to leave Obertop's shoulder. 3 straight balls and now 2 straight strikes to follow it. Leg lift and the throw. Swing, and it's fouled into the backstop. Staying alive. Michigan trailing 5-0, hoping to kickstart a rally here in the top of the 8th inning. If they lose today, their season almost certainly will be over. If they win, they have a rematch this afternoon. Pitches in, strike 3, didn't even leave his shoulder. Ring him up and send him home. He's going to the dugout, pinch hitting. Bat does not leave his shoulder the entire at bat. Let me see this replay, see how close it was. He was giving some lip to the ump on his way back to the dugout. Yeah, that probably looked like a ball looking at the replay. Regardless, you got to learn to swing when it's full count. And the ump has been calling that all day. Jeffress, leadoff hitter, is a strikeout and a fly out. 2 strikeouts, rather, in this game. As he makes contacts and sends it in a deep right, going onto the warning track and getting under it and making the grab back against the wall. That'll be out number 2. Advancing to third base is Kim on the tag up. So now Michigan's first run potentially just 90 feet away. But in right field, Frazier, incredible read, and back against the wall, able to grab it. The wind weren't blowing in as much from the Missouri River that may have carried over the fence. So 2 outs now in the top of the 8th. Michigan down in their final 4 outs and still trail 5-0. Tito Flores on the 2022 All-Big Ten Tournament team. Leg lift in the throw. Checks his swing, but it's a called strike. He's a ground out, a line out, and a hit by pitch today. Kim is on third, just 90 feet away. No one even holding him on. Focus on the batter. Luxuries of a 5-run cushion. Pitches in, contact into the gap, and left center. Is it going to land? No, it won't. Center fielder getting under it. Huxhorf makes a grab. And that'll be out number 3. So no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 runner left on base. Wolverines still trail 5-0 as they have only 3 more outs left in their season, bearing a miracle. Intrigued who pitches for this final half inning. It's imperative that they don't surrender any more runs and make it even harder for themselves. See who's coming on out for the Wolverines. Look like it's freshman pitcher Kurt Barr. He's a 4.37 ERA in 22 innings pitched. As he comes on out now. This has the high likelihood of being the final inning of this game, bearing a miracle. Michigan trailing 5-0. Assuming this result holds, Iowa will have the rest of the day off and play either Maryland or Nebraska tomorrow in the championship game. So far, this was a run for the Wolverines. After a late season skid, dropping 2 of 3 on the road to Minnesota and then getting swept in the final series against Ohio State. They came into the tournament, dropped game 1 by run rule to the Hawkeyes before bouncing back, winning against the 7th-seeded Fighting Illini, and then keeping that momentum going with the upset, knocking out the Indiana Hoosiers, the 2nd-ranked Hoosiers. But now they're on the ropes against the Hawkeyes yet again, as the Wolverines are fighting for their season. Very limited probability of them being selected as an at-large team So if they don't win this tournament and get the auto bid, their season is almost certainly done. Iowa, as if they weren't in it already, winning 3 games over Michigan twice, assuming this holds, and then Indiana should be enough for them to make it, regardless of how their season or tournament shakes up tomorrow. Brandon Frazier with a single and a run in the third, a strikeout and a ground out, takes a pitch for a strike. Leg lift and the throw. Outside, 1-2 count. Frazier was a 2022 academic All-Big Ten selection, batting .320 despite being in the 8-hole. Made a big play in right field last half inning. Fires it in, makes contact, a drifting foul in the third base side. Will it stay out of play? Barely out of play. Diving over the tarpaulin is shortstop Jeffress to no avail. So that'll keep the count at 1-2 with no outs here in the bottom of the 8th. Iowa looking to maintain their 5-run lead. One-two pitch, wind up and the throw. Contact made into right center. Towering Michigan should have no trouble getting under it. And Pace, the defensive substitute, comes and grabs it in the air. 1 out here from the bottom of the 8th inning. Moss, the catcher, steps on in. Despite being the 9-hitter, he had a huge hit in the 7th last inning to kickstart the offense. He had a single and eventually scored, add on a sac bunt and a ground out this game. Fires in for a called strike, changeup 75 down the middle. 0-1 count with 1 out to the catcher. Moss batting .276 on the season. Pitch is in, and it skips in to the plate for ball 1, evens up the count. Wind up and the leg lift and the throw. Right down the pipe. He probably wants that one back. Another changeup. So it'll be 1-2 with 1 out now. As Michigan desperately first needs to stop the bleeding and get out of this inning without surrendering any runs. And then has to put up 5 in the top of the 9th. Leg lift and the throw, barely outside. Ball 2. Reached 89 on that last one, so throwing some heat despite it being inaccurate. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Looking down at his wrist, taking his time, stepping on the rubber, getting set. Wind up, leg lift, and the throw. Contact made, towering shot to shallow center. Second baseman Ted Burton makes a grab. Out number 2. And Michigan is looking good so far in the 8th inning. But we have the top of the order, Ben Wilmez stepping in. Designated hitter. This is his 5th at-bat of the game. Is a walk, a hit by pitch, and 2 ground outs. Leg lift and the throw. Little bit high for ball 1 on that changeup. Barr, the freshman, has shown some sparkles this season. He'll be a player to keep an eye on next season along with Voigt and Kim. Leg lift and the throw on the 1-0. Outside, ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes, 2 outs. As the catcher calls time. Contact made, shallow one right to Jeffress, scoops it up, skips it over to Marty, the other defensive substitute at first base, who makes a grab to end the inning. 3 up, 3 down, no runs, no hits, no errors, no runners left on base. Wolverines headed in the top of the ninth, trailing 5-0 with their season on the line. This could be the final 3 batters of this Michigan season if they don't turn it around. Maryland playing Nebraska at approximately 1 p.m. today. Many Nebraska fans, I imagine, will come out. And many Iowa fans, I imagine, will stick around for tomorrow. Right now, there's about 2,500 in the stands. It's a beautiful Saturday morning, 11:29 local time here in Omaha, Nebraska, home of the College World Series. Michigan has their work cut out for them. And let's see who comes out to the mound for Iowa. Are they going to stick with Christophers, or are they going to go with the new pitcher to get this final inning? Iowa has that luxury, having a day off since their previous game. And this is only their 3rd game of the tournament. Looks like they will bring in a new pitcher, sophomore Chas Wheatley, right-handed pitcher. And for Michigan, it'll be Burden, Velazquez, and Voigt. I guess Velazquez got pinch hit earlier, so we'll see who takes his place, whether it'll be Pace or another pinch hitter. Starts with Burden. Burden, the senior, has been a leader on this team all 4 years. With Chase Wheatley getting settled in, getting his final pitches, as Burden prepares to start up a rally, what could potentially be his last at-bat in the maize and blue. Unsure what his senior plans are. He does have the potential for a COVID year, being a senior. That'll start to be phased out as those guys graduate. But as of now, he does have that eligibility. So Ted Burden checks on into the box, steps back, leg lift and the throw. Inside, and did it hit him? Yes, it did. Wow, 1 pitch and 1 base runner. Talk about efficiency. Not a good start for Chase Wheatley, the sophomore relief pitcher who came in for the 9th inning. Shaking that off easily is Burden. He's happy to take a pitch. And to answer my previous question, for Michigan's pinch hitter, it looks like it'll be Jordan Rogers. Haven't seen him yet this tournament. It's a 123 average, but has some pop with 5 extra base hits. Yeah, he only has 8 hits on the season, so not a ton of opportunities, but 5 of them were extra base hits. He takes the first pitch for a ball. Burden's taking some leads off first. Wind up in the throw, checks his swing outside, ball 2. Burden 3 for 6 in stolen base percent. And already the infield's coming in to talk to their pitcher. Can't be a good sign when your pitcher has thrown 3 pitches, all of them balls, and 1 of them was a hit by pitch. Especially when your team's up by 5 and on the verge of advancing in this tournament to the finals. Mound visit. Head coach hasn't come out, but the pitching coach has for Iowa. Finally wrapping up as the umpire comes on out to say break it up, get this game on the road. So Rogers steps back in with a 2-0 count. I wonder if the sophomore is a little bit nervous about the big lights in the Big Ten tournament. Taking a bit of a lead is Burden at first. Wind up in the throw. Going to be ball 3, just barely outside. 3-0 count. The pinch hitter is 1 away from taking first. 3-0 count, no out. Pitches in, strike 1. Fastball down the middle, 87. Michigan trailing 5-0 here in the top of the 9th with the pinch hitter at the plate and a runner on first base and no outs. Leg lift in the throw. Strike 2 called, changeup. Full count now. This is very reminiscent of Obertop, also coming in with a runner on base as a pinch hitter, getting 3 straight balls last inning before striking out. Leg lift in the throw, outside ball 4. Lucky break for Rogers as he takes first. No outs, 2 on, runners on first and second. The Wolverines are not going down without a fight as they trail by 5 in what could potentially be their last inning of the season. And that'll be it for Chase Wheatley. 2 batters faced, a hit by pitch and a walk. And the sophomore is going to take the walk of shame back to the dugout as he's relieved from the pin. That's the luxuries you could do when you have fresh arms. If you don't like what you could see, you could pull it quickly. This game, I know a 5-0 deficit seems insurmountable. But right now, Michigan has the tying run not on deck, but in the hole. Michigan gets hot. As we saw yesterday, they could get many runs in an inning. 3 separate innings with over 3 runs. I think 4 separate innings, actually, with over 3 runs against the Hoosiers. Different dynamic. Let's see who ends up coming in. Looks like it'll be number 34 on the Hawkeyes, Luke Llewellyn. We saw him the other day when Michigan faced off against Iowa on Tuesday. Llewellyn had an innings pitch, no hits surrendered, no earned runs, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. 2 walks, rather. So gave up 2 walks and 3 strikeouts in 5 batters faced and 24 pitches. Pretty solid ERA, 2.63. 27.1 ERA this season, trying to close out this game for the Hawkeyes and send them en route to the Big Ten championship game tomorrow afternoon. Take some warm-up pitches as Michigan has 2 runners on base. They got Burden, the second baseman, on second. And then Rogers, the pinch hitter, on first. Michigan with another pinch hitter. This time it looks like for Mitch Voigt, who had 3 strikeouts on the day prior to getting pulled. Brendan Wallace steps in, the junior infielder. Leg lift and the throw. First pitch, called strike, changeup down the middle. He's a 300 average. Guess that doesn't mean much when you only have 6 hits on the season. Guess 20 at-bats. Leg lift and the throw. Also a called strike, identical spot, identical speed. 0-2 count, pinch hitter is quickly behind with no outs and runners on first and second. Michigan trailing 5-0 in the top of the 9th inning. Leg lift and the throw. Outside, 1-2, and he'll stay alive for now for Lawrence. Lawrence, the junior. He's a switch hitter, but he throws right-handed. 1-2 count. Rocks back, fires. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Send him back to the dugout. 1 out for the Wolverines here in the top of the 9th. Jake Marty comes on in, replacing Jack Van Rewardle as a initially pinch runner and then defensive substitute as well. Marty has a .279 average on the season. Here's the throw. Takes the first pitch outside, ball 1. 1 out, top of the 9th. Michigan trails 5-0. Runners on first and second have their work cut out for them. Even a big blast would still make this a 2-1 deficit. Leg lift and the throw. Ball 2 for the first baseman. Two home runs on the season for Marty. Rocks and fires for Llewellyn. It's going to be a called strike, 2-1 count with 1 out. Llewellyn, when he played Michigan on Tuesday, very efficient and effective. 5 batters faced and 3 strikeouts. Fires in, outside barely for another ball. 3-1. And Llewellyn is 1 pitch away from loading the bases with 1 out and putting the tying run on deck. Leg lift and a fire, fouls it back, makes the count full. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out, runner on first and second. Michigan down to potentially their final 2 outs of the season, looking to stay alive. Let's go Hawks taking place. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Here's the payoff pitch. Leg lift and fires, swing and fouls it back, staying alive. Michigan is just showing no signs of life on offense today. Guess they went to the bank and cashed everything in yesterday against the Hoosiers. 18 hits for 13 runs. Full count. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Michigan is down to its final out of the season. Coming up to the plate, Dylan Stanton was a bright spot yesterday with 4 hits, including a double. Looking to do the same today. 2 outs, top of the 9th. Michigan trails 5-0. This could be it for the Wolverines. Today is a walk, a strikeout, and a ground out. First pitch, fires in. Fastball down the middle, 90 miles per hour, right down the pipe. 0-1 count with runners on first and second. Rocks back and throws, swing and a miss, strike 2 for the third baseman. All the fans are on their feet. Iowa's 1 pitch away from making the Big Ten tournament game, Big Ten championship game, and avenging their loss to the Wolverines last season. Rocking back and firing, swing and a miss. However, gets by the catcher, drop third strike. He throws it over to first for the final out, and that'll do it here from Omaha. Michigan falls to the Iowa Hawkeyes 5-0, completely helpless on offense. Shutout inning, no runs, and 3 hits all game. The last inning will be no runs, no hits, and 2 runners left on base with no errors committed by Iowa. And after a successful string of games for the Wolverines, they finally fall both times to the Iowa Hawkeyes, first on Tuesday and now Saturday morning. Made a good run, but Coach Tracy Smith ends his rookie campaign as with the Wolverines in a disappointing loss here from Omaha. The Wolverines had a solid season, finishing with a perfectly even 28-28 record. The loss will be granted to Mann, who gave up the run in the first inning. He didn't even give it up, but it was his run. And Landenberg had an incredible outing. And that'll do it from this side of the bracket. Iowa remains undefeated heading into the championship game. They almost certainly locked up their spot in the Big Ten, in the NCAA tournament. They probably locked it up even in the regular season, but this tournament has added some fuel to that. And if they win, they might even get the auto bid. They'll face off against either Maryland or Nebraska, depending on who wins later today. Going to be a lot of questions for the Wolverines going forward, mainly who comes back among the seniors. Almost certainly we're not going to see Jack Van Remortel, the last link to Michigan's run here in Omaha, continue with the team. He's a grad student, but question marks about Ted Burden, about Tito Flores, about Joey Velazquez. Both of them seniors, both have a year of grad eligibility if they choose to use it due to the COVID year. Beyond that, a lot of hope for the young program. You look at center fielder Jonathan Kim. He had a hot bat. You look at Voigt, all Big Ten freshman team at both third base and relief pitching, and having that gem of an outing yesterday in his very first start. There's a lot of promise under Coach Tracy in his second year next year. Well, with that, Michigan falls 5-0. Before we let go, I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. This will be my last and final broadcast with WCBN Sports. When I enrolled at the University of Michigan as a freshman, I knew that I wanted to be part of a station like WCBN, following the greatest athletic program in college sports across the many different teams and disciplines that the university sponsors. And I could not be more grateful for the opportunities I've had at the station. I know it wasn't quite what I expected with COVID taking over in March of my freshman year. I was literally preparing to broadcast from the Big Ten men's basketball tournament in Indianapolis alongside Nick Hornberg and Daniel Thompson when COVID canceled that tournament, and we literally 10 minutes before tip-off had to go leave, and we had no clue what would happen. But 4 years, I guess 3 years later, stuck with WCBN. I provided some incredible commentary with some incredible opportunities alongside some incredible fellow broadcasters. Had the privilege of broadcasting 91 games over my 4 years with the station, and that's including 13 different sports across 13 different states and 2 continents. So I had the privilege and honor of going across the pond this past season in basketball to cover the men's team against Kentucky. Just those opportunities are what you dream of as a college student. 3 bowl games and 2 college football playoff appearances for the Wolverines, and the programs are looking up. So that's a long-winded way of saying thank you to everyone at the station who provided support and guidance over my 4 years, and thank you to all the listeners. We are 100% serious. It might sound cliche, but we do it for you guys. You guys are the best part. We love your comments in the chat. We love your support, tuning in and really allowing us to develop our skills as student journalists as we provide. Hopefully, we hope to have high-quality coverage, and we strive to do that, and we don't always meet it, but we appreciate the support nonetheless. So with that, signing off for the 81st and final time with WCBN Sports Radio, I'm Adam Bressler, live from Omaha, Nebraska. Have a good afternoon, and go blue.